Now, joining us in the studio to talk more on ECOWAS at 50 is a former ECOWAS diplomat, Haruna Wakani. Many thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now, ECOWAS is 50. How do you envision ECOWAS evolving over the next decade to further strengthen regional integration and cooperation among member states?
Well, we thank God that today, 50 years after the signing of the Lagos Treaty, ECOWAS is 50, and the surviving founding father of ECOWAS, General Yakubu Gowon, is still there to share in the euphoria of this moment. Secondly, Nigeria is back at the helms of affairs of ECOWAS, because the reason why General Gowon became very prominent in the formation of ECOWAS was, as of that time, Nigeria, being the giant of Africa, promoted vigorously among his colleagues the formation of this regional body. ECOWAS has shown clearly in the last 50 years that there is no regional body of comparison to it in Africa. There are several of them that were recommended by the Economic Commission of Africa that promoted the actual forming of these regional blocks. These regional blocks meant to be regional building blocks of the former OAU. And ECOWAS happens to be the most successful of all of them, because today...
Many thanks, Haruna Wakani. Critics may want to disagree with you. In your own view, away from the successes now, what do you think are the significant challenges ECOWAS has faced in the last 50 years?
Well, there have been plenty of challenges. First and foremost, the most important was the change in direction from a regional economic body to a body that had to do with civil strife and the restoration of democracy in some countries as a result of conflicts that broke out. You couldn't have economic integration where there was conflict going on. So by the 1990s, we have seen what ECOMOG had to do as a regional force to restore democracy to Liberia and Sierra Leone and some other countries, maintain same democracy in some others without necessarily military interventions, and successfully midwifed a lot of programs and projects that are still standing. The Parliament, for instance, the Court of Justice, the single passport, single custom declaration, the community levy that helps ECOWAS to move forward, so many programs and projects to facilitate trade within the member states.
All right.
However, there are challenges, of course, that are always there with such a body.
Of course, when you talk about trade and investment, the single currency will be one of the issues, in that regard. But let's talk about how ECOWAS has helped, develop the countries economically now. In your own take, now that ECOWAS is drifting to ECOWAS of the people, what do you foresee happening?
Well, ECOWAS of the people was a philosophy that was adopted some years ago to say, instead of ECOWAS integrating as governments of the sub-region, let the people, actual people, for whom these policies and programs are being brought about, to actually feel the impact of these policy positions. And for that reason, things like the free movement of persons, right of residence, right of establishment, and all those things related to it, free trade, single customs, and then the single currency that has remained one of the greatest problems of ECOWAS so far, I think are what ECOWAS is gearing to achieve in the next 50 years or part of this journey, the second part of this journey.
All right, fantastic. Many thanks, Haruna Wakani, for being our guest, and thank you for sharing your insight with us. We wish ECOWAS the very best, of course. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.